Oh, hey, what's up, you guys? How's it going? It's Papa, and today we're going to be kicking off spooky season with one of my favorite decks of all time, that being Phantom Knight. So Phantom Knight, I feel like, is a much better meta contender in this current format, mainly because we did get our third copy of Fusion Destiny back. We're able to play DPE with this deck again, being able to access like other broken cards like the Brave package as well, which was also just not hit on this last ban list. The Phantom Knight deck can definitely still play in today's meta, and I'm going to show you how. A little disclaimer, this deck is definitely not budget friendly. There is budget alternatives that you can play with this deck by just taking out the DPE package in general, or you could also just not play the Brave cards if you don't want to play the Brave cards. But there is other ways to play this deck. You just have to do some modifications where needed. This is also a 60 card build, so you could also just go ahead and cut some of the engine that is in here that you don't feel like playing if you can't. Just by taking it out simply. Just try to slim the deck down as much to 40 as you can. I'm personally playing 60 because I just feel the deck combos off better that way, and then it also just helps you not lose by deck out to Mystic Mind. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump right into the deck profile. Starting off the main deck, we are playing 3 copies of Phantom Knight Torn Scales because this is definitely the best Phantom Knight in the deck. This being able to just Foolish Burial and Phantom Knight cards that you need into the grave, and it also has the recursion effect from the grave, so that's always nice. Then we play 3 copies of Silent Boots. It is 60, so you definitely have to max out on Silent Boots because the card is just that busted. And then we do play 2 copies of Ancient Cloak. You don't need 3, just because you could keep bringing it back with Levier, so I feel the 2 is fine. Then we play 1 copy of Gloves. Gloves is just there for extra recursion. And then 1 copy of Stained Greaves. And we are playing 3 copies of Fogblade just to complement it, and then the 1 Shade Brigandine as well. That's going to round off our Phantom Knight package. It is quite the heifer, but we're not playing Wings, we're not playing Sword. We don't really need any of that because you have so much other engine in the deck that just makes up for not having to play those bad cards. Fogblade just being your like main negate that you want to end on, and then sometimes if you have to pitch it to activate your Torn Scales or access your extra deck, I mean, it's just there to be there. But that's it for the Phantom Knight cards. A little bit controversial, but we are playing 3 copies of Tour Guide of the Underworld. I am playing Tour Guide, even though it is a Brave-centered deck, I do still play 60 cards, so sometimes you are going to draw Tour Guide, sometimes you're not, and it is what it is. And it's the same reasoning for the Brave package. Sometimes you draw it, sometimes you don't. But you just want to be able to start your engine, get your combos going any way that you can, and Tour Guide is the best 1-card starter in the deck, basically making it to be full combo with just the Tour Guide by itself, so you have to play it. 2 copies of Kagamucha Knight. This is what helps you chain block your Tour Guide in general. Basically being able to go chain link 1 Tour Guide, summon the Kagamucha from the hand as chain link 2. Basically playing around cards like Ash, cards like Gamma, just really good in that instinct. So I only offer 2 because I just don't want to brick with multiple, and it's not as good as it used to be, so we only play the 2. I am playing a Graph and I am playing a Seer for my BA names because we are still playing Cherubini, and it basically when you send these off of Cherubini, you're kind of just going into your Bardiche from there. So you definitely have to play these just for that instinct because it's just so free in this deck, and why wouldn't you play it? For the Brave package, we are playing 3 copies of Enchantress, 1 copy of Griffin Rider, 3 copies of Rite of Aramasir, 1 Faithful Adventurer, and 1 Dracoback. Granted, you could play a Legal Knight if you want to play a Legal Knight. It's just up to personal preference. I'm not really a huge fan of the card. I'm not super sold on a Legal Knight. So if you feel like you want to play it, then go ahead. This is just here to give you like a rough draft of what to play with your Phantom Knight deck, but for the most part I just don't feel comfortable playing a Legal Knight, and I just feel that these cards alone basically just get the job done for you, so that's why I'm just opting for these names. Moving on, we have some extenders. So we do play the Tsuchinoko and the Jackalope. Surprisingly enough, with Tier Element in the format, I'm surprised these cards are just not banned yet. These cards are just super broken. You could use these just to help you go into your level 3 plays, and these are basically just the best level 3 starters, level 3 extenders in the game. Sometimes it digs you into what you need to, but you're mainly here to summon these. Worst comes to worst, this can summon this, and then this is on automatic summon no matter what. So you definitely have to play these. You could play Nessie if you want to, but Nessie just didn't do it for me. I just never really saw these cards as being like a main focus of the deck. They are just here to be here. So just the 2 dangers, no more, no less. Basically, these are flex spots. I am playing Terratop and Tagatomborg. For some reason, I always draw Terratop in 60, so I just opted to still keep playing it, and I really love this card a lot. Maybe one day it will come back to 3, but also most likely not. But for now, we're just repping the 1/1 because it is so free if you draw it. Also, if you have Leviair, you can go ahead and special summon this bad boy as well, so just keep that in mind too. For the Penis Enforcer engine, we are playing the 1 Dasher and the 1 Celestial, of course. I'm throwing in the Artifact Scythe too because this is basically an Enforcer card and it just gets the job done. And then we're playing 3 copies of Fusion Destiny. I don't have my 3rd Fusion Destiny yet. It is in the postage, so I am opting for just the Red Eyes Fusion for substitute for now. But this is supposed to be a Fusion Destiny, so I'm just gonna basically put it face down for those that don't like to watch with the sound on, because sometimes that happens. So this is supposed to be 3 copies of Fusion Destiny with the 1 Dasher, 1 Celestial, and the Scythe. It's just the way that the end has got to be, especially since you don't have Anaconda now. You kind of have to max out on the Fusion Destiny, and since you are playing 60 as well, you definitely need to max it out because you want to be able to hard draw this as much as you can. You could play the Predaplants if you want to. I was really debating on playing the Predaplants so that way you can search the Fusion Destiny and just play it out at the end of your combo. The hard part about playing the Predaplants and playing the Brave package is that you're basically locked into just doing one or the other. You definitely can't afford to resolve both, because if you have to search the Fusion Destiny, then you're just not activating any of the Brave cards, and sometimes the Fusion Destiny doesn't even go off. So it's probably better to just not play those cards in general. I just opted to play the maxed out Fusion Destinies instead, and so far it's been working out better that way. For more extenders, we do play 3 copies of Emergency Teleport with our level 3 Psychics. So 1 Psychic Tracker, 1 Wielder, and then I'm opting for 2 Ghost Ogre in the main deck, mainly because Ghost Ogre does still act as a really good hand trap, especially because now that Sprite has been hit and then Tear Element has been hit, I mean, we're still going to see Tear Element no matter what, but Ghost Ogre can hit the field spell as well, and then Ghost Ogre is also really good against any of the Brave Mirrors that you may be running into for the upcoming format, and it's still really good against Gigantic Sprites if people are still opting to play any kind of Sprite build as well. Ghost Ogre just still is an underrated hand trap this format, and I just feel like in this deck it's really good too, because worst comes to worst, you could use it as a level 3 monster to summon and then just go into your Cherubini plays like that. But that's it for the Psychic Extenders. And then, of course, we are playing some Disruption. So we, of course, play the 3 copies of Ash. Not this time Crow, but we are opting for 3 copies of Bell. I opted to play 3 Bell in this deck because of the same reasoning as the Ogres. It is a level 3 monster, which is really good for your Cherubini plays. It helps you with your rank plays as well. And then it's just a really busted card. So Bell basically being able to stop any kind of tier plays that do go on, being able to stop Sprite Elf is really good as well. And Ash is just Ash. I mean, it's really generic, so what else can you really say there? But I did opt for 3 copies of Bell just because it is 60, so I want to be able to make sure that I'm seeing at least 1, maybe 2 hand traps every opening hand as well. And then I am still playing 3 copies of Forbidden Droplet. Forbidden Droplet just being very beneficial in this deck, getting your Phantom Knights to the graveyard, being able to just benefit you as much as possible. And you know what, Droplet, it just gets the job done. So can't really say too much there. And then rounding off the main deck, we do play 1 copy of Call by the Grave. Super standard, you kind of need this. I mean, if you see it, it's busted, so why not play it? 1 Feather Duster. I still feel like you need to have some kind of form of main deck out to Mystic Mine, because, I mean, there are going to be those really inconsiderate players that just like to watch the world burn, so you have to have some kind of form of out to Mystic Mine in the main deck, and I just feel like Feather Duster is the most safe one because it guarantees you that you do have a main deck out, but it's just a matter of getting to it. So it's just the one that gives you more bang for your buck, so might as well play it, and it is only 1 card in a 60 card deck, so odds are you probably won't see it, but it's just there for safety. And then we play 1 Foolish Burial because this basically becomes any card in your deck. It's really good. And we play the 1 Reinforcement of the Army, basically because it gets you Torn Scales, it gets you your Kagamuchanite, it gets you whatever you need to start your plays. That is it for the main deck, a full 60 card main deck. No more, no less. I mean, if you want to cut it down to 40 or 50, whatever you want to do, be my guest. But I am opting to play 60 because I just feel it works better out that way. Moving on to the not 60, 15 card side deck, extra deck. we are opting for 1 copy of Levier, the Sea Dragon. I mean, you could play 2 if you want to, but I would only suggest playing 2 if you are going to go the Utopic Draco route, and I just don't feel like that card is necessary in the deck because with the Fog Blades that you're ending on, you definitely don't need more monster negates. If anything, you need more like generic interruptions or more Omni negates, but this deck doesn't really produce that because we're basically just playing monster negate the deck. So just playing the 1 Levier is fine. 2 copies of Breaksword. Granted, you could play one of this if you want to, but I am playing the Zeus package, so I opted to play another one just in case, because I am playing the Down Nerd and I am playing the Zeus. So worst comes to worst, you could use one and then just use it as a bait to basically rank up into your Zeus if you need to. But I'm also playing Redoer, and Redoer, you could kind of do the same exact thing, but you're mainly using this with your Shade Brigandine and like the monsters you summon back with the Bardiche anyway, or not the Bardiche, the Breaksword. But Redoer, I never really make too much, but it is just there as a safety factor, and you know, it's a dark, so it's really good. Finishing up the extra deck, we do have the links. We play the 1 copy of Cherubini. This card is still really busted. Being able to just send for cost, being able to send Enchantress off of this is just really broken. Being able to send Graph or Seer, basically whatever card you need, any of the Phantom Knights as well, it's just a really busted card. For other links, we are playing 1 copy of Masquerena. This card just gives you a lot of versatility, being able to go into basically whatever you need in your extra deck, being either like a Phoenix or a Unicorn. Hell, if you want to play Apollosia, you can, but I'm just not playing it in this build. I am playing Dagda. This is just to get the Scythe set from the main deck to the field, but what you could do with Dagda too, I'm also opting to play Lancey in the side deck for my locals if I do take this deck to locals, but you can play Lancey in the side deck so that way you have a way of getting the Lancea to your side of the field as well. And basically you're only making Dagda if you hard open the Fusion Destiny, so you basically turn your turn 1 board into resolving Fusion Destiny with the Scythe block, but it is just there for safety. 1 Dark the Dark Charmer. This card's really good for linking into your Access Code Talker, and then it benefits you if they destroy it, of course. Phoenix, because Phoenix is amazing. Nightmare Unicorn, because you can pair one of these with the Masquerena during your opponent's turn, and it just benefits you a lot. 1 Bardiche, of course, because Bardiche is definitely the best card in this deck. Access Code, you could play Boral Sword if you want. You don't have to play Access Code. I'm opting for Access Code mainly because it is just the better route, and it just gives you like the most bang for your buck, because you could also use this to beat over cards like the Ignister Link. Granted, that is if they don't make it 6k, if they're not playing Templar, but Access Code just has a lot of like really good usage in the deck, and it's just overall really overwhelming for most players. And then we play the Destroy Penis Enforcer because this card is insane with Phantom Knights, and it always has been, and definitely has a warm place in the heart for it. But yeah, guys, that is going to go ahead and do it for this deck profile. I really hope you enjoyed this list. Again, it is 60 cards, so it is quite the heifer. I know a lot of people usually like turn away from playing 60. I got a lot of the inspiration of playing a 60 card Phantom Knight deck from Karan, and after doing some test hands with it, after playing a little bit online with the deck, I do really enjoy this list. The bells could be debatable, but mainly because since I'm playing online, so a lot of people just kind of like to like fuck around online and play like not really the meta. But you could just play whatever you want to. It's based off your preference, and if you don't want to play Tier Element, I would suggest giving this deck a try. Granted, if you also can't afford the Brave stuff, again, like I said, you could go ahead and exchange that for anything else, or you could just overall cut it from the deck in general, making the deck go down from 60 to like 40 or 50, whatever you want to do. It's your guys' choice. But yeah, guys, thank you again for watching this video, and until next time, this has been Papa, and I will catch you all in my next video. Take care, everyone.